For me, generative art has been a way of expression and a sort of a language that I've adapted to. And then when I realized how beautiful this world is, I just couldn't go back. Anything that happens around me becomes a form of art and therefore a story. I'm not just trying to be an artist. I think that's my life, and I'm trying to preserve it and document it. Somehow I managed to translate my thoughts into another form, and that can transform over time. And I think that's an interesting form of being an artist. My name is Itzel. Friends know me as Eggshells, and I'm a generative artist. Generative art, or algorithmic art, like some people call it, is a set of instructions that you give to a computer, or it can be even made by hand, where you connect these algorithms to create certain outputs. For me, generative art has been a way of expression and trying to create a safe space for our ideas. I'm at Copenhagen right now, working with the National Gallery of Denmark to work on an exhibition that is related to Nordic women artists from the 1800s that weren't recognized during their times. Women had to travel long distances to be able to sell their work, and they didn't have the same opportunities. Some of them had to stay at home because they were married or they were queer, and they had to hide because society at the time wasn't accepting their way of living, and that affected their careers and the way they created art that had certain similarities to the way I work and the way many women of my time work. We have to really change many aspects of our lives to be able to make it out there. I'm using data and information from the different places these artists traveled in the past. I'm also using these algorithms to randomize the output, the colors, the shapes, how wide, how deep it can be, how fast it can move, almost like grabbing a brush and instead of painting something, a landscape, you're throwing paint and like seeing what comes out of it. I think through geometry to abstraction to color, you can express these different emotions and stages in life. I want to know where they were, how they were feeling, and correlate to that information, because I'm doing pretty much the same, but in modern times. I'm traveling to get to know, to improve my art, to improve my relationship, to be able to be free and evolve, and they were doing the same too. I lost my father when I was 14. He was an electrical engineer, and he had all of his equipment around all the time. that I was curious about, and he gave me my first computer. So I think that became my safe space. And I started learning about creative coding and architecture, which is something that I combined to create my artwork. Then I created this work, which is I called it Mega Block Trim, just to remember where it was. And I wrote construction noise 24/7. And that gives me a bit of joy. I have a feeling that something nice is coming up. And I'll try to stay up. I'll try. Lost in the rhythm. I think when I started with art, it was all about what I was imagining. I started sharing a lot of art and creating stories in between them without knowing what I was doing. I didn't even know the term curator at the time. I was just connecting dots, as always. I think everything that connected was poetry to me. And as I spent so much time online, that I was starting to see patterns within. Like, I would look at patterns and they look like cities or structures that I've seen in real life. I used to just go for long walks and take photos and then imagine these places in a different way, in a different setting. So for me, it has always been important to save information like I show you. It's just the way I think I'll stay, or my memories will stay alive through sharing my memories and my thoughts. I tried storing information for a long time using my Instagram page, but I know that's something that could potentially disappear in the future because it's built on website, or what we call Web 2. The websites that we know that are, they only last so long. Web 3, it's what we call the next internet. It's information that is encrypted in a decentralized system. For example, regular websites stores all of your information in one place, and if they go down, all your information goes down. And if you have this information jumping from one point to the other, there's no way it can be lost, and also there's no way it can be accessed. And I think if you learn about this technology, maybe you can start preserving what you've done without having to worry about the other part of NFTs that people know, which is about investments and collections or being famous or whatever. Like, it's not about that. It's about preservation. And of course, if you want to, you can enter this other part of the world that will help you fund your projects and your ideas and find another way to earn enough to be able to do things that you love and dream of. So I guess finding this new technology was a way for me to explore these other avenues for my work to be something that could help support myself and my family and fund projects that in the evolution of my career I was interested to do. When I first sold my work, it was in foundation, and I think it was about not more than $600. For me, that was a lot, and I could do a lot with it in Panama, where minimum salary for 1 month is around $600. Someone from Tor, she worked at the design department, Antonella is her name. She messaged me on Instagram and she told me, hey, I really like your work. It reminds me of glitch art from the 70s. I was like, oh my God, thank you. I didn't know who she was or where she was coming from. And then she said, I have this idea. Can I talk to you? And she called me. She told me that this whole new thing about crypto and NFTs is very similar to what Tor does, which is a decentralized system that uses community building to stay above and stay running. And she told me that during the past few years, especially during the pandemic, they were having issues to keeping the organization running, and that it's. She told me that we could create this project that will go into an auction. Why is this important? Tor is being used for many different actors, but it's very important for people that are working in zones of conflict or like the borders, for example, or for whistleblowers, for people that are very brave, but they can be in danger if they share their location, their data, their names, everything that a regular browser can give out, either to anyone that wants to create harm. So when I collaborated with Tor, I thought about all of this, how this one single piece, this symbol, can become something that will help many not only remember what is Tor all about, but also will help keep it afloat and keep working for others. I just knew it was important to talk about it, and that will become something, but I didn't know it was gonna go so far. I went on creating the program that it became the Tor piece, Dreaming at Dusk. Is a symbol or representation of the first website or the first onion service ever created by the Tor project. An onion service is a decentralized system that managed to transfer information from one point to the other without storing it in just one place. The squares and the tree map, which is the algorithm used for the creation of the artwork, is a representation of these different points. We had no idea it was gonna be this big. Everyone went crazy when I started sharing about the project. That it's just, imagine this bunch of people that want to protect their information and wants to remain anonymous, and they lose this, one of the only ways to do it, because it's losing money. I guess they can find a way to support it. And then the day of the auction, they showed up. And it was just like watching a game in real life, like when like different guilds gather to finish a quest and see the item at the end of the line. Well, that was what my work was, in a way. And that changed my life and the life of many people, I think. What was gathered in the auction was gave to the Tor project for it to continue the whole point, it was a fundraiser, not for me to get hyper rich or anything. That didn't happen. And I think there's a confusion when people read about this auction. But of course, that helped promote my art, because I come from a place where I didn't have anything for myself, and I depended a lot on other people's and on traveling and trying my luck in other places, like most people do. But when you're busy doing that, and I was really busy all the time, I couldn't make the art that I love, the art that I'm making now. I have so much freedom. I've never had this much freedom in my life. And I think there's people that are aware of this. They see something in me that can be explored. You know, I love the world that I created. If I didn't love it, I don't think it will evolve. It will just stay in one place. And I think I make other people love what I see and understand it through my eyes. I want to show how we can live together, how it doesn't have to take over traditional art. And I'm talking about technology. It can be a tool to help preserve this beautiful medium. I think it can help change the way we archive or we preserve our art. In a way, it can be like a large museum that is more communal. So if my art can help somehow preserve, and maybe in the future it can be part of this evolution, I think that's something I can be proud of.